We're gonna talk about audition cuts. Yes, we are gonna talk about audition cuts. We're gonna talk about audition cuts today, so strap in, get ready. Sup team, today we're going to talk about how to set yourself up for success with an audition cut. Because it's not just about the standing and the singing and the acting. It's about how to choose a song, what to look for in a song, how to pick the good juicy 16/32 bars of a song, and then how to literally make an 8-page song into a 16-bar perfect 2.5-page PDF of beautiful, pristine, legible sheet music that you can bring into an accompanist and just rock the house. Okay? Can't believe I just said rock the house. What am I, 80? Yeah, I am. I look great. Alright, number 1, song selection. Best place to find it? You're on it. It's YouTube. These are good ways to do it. Number 1, you can go down the actor route, which is find people that you like, what they do, and that you could like kind of vibe with them, and then go down a YouTube rabbit hole of everything they've ever performed at a cabaret. Like, for example, I die for a Leslie Margarita, so I would be like, Leslie Margarita 54 Below, Leslie Margarita Green Room, you know, all of the cabaret spots in New York. The one caveat with the like Green Room 42 and 54 Below of it all is a lot of the time those cabaret songs are like not from a musical, so just like make sure you are finding things that come from bigger works that have plots. Okay? Don't do things that are from song cycles for college auditions. Please, dear God. They're also just incredibly hard to cut. Like, find me a Jonathan Reed Gault song that is easy to cut, and I will give you $100. Right? If I'm like, hey, I'm a funny lady, I die for a Leslie Margarita. I would just go like down the line of her IBDB, Internet Broadway database. I hope you know about this incredible resource. Internet Broadway database. Sponsor me? I'm gonna go on Leslie Margarita's website and go down her resume and see every single thing she's ever done at a regional theater, and then find songs from that catalog. Find Broadway stars' like studio albums on iTunes, and then look at those songs. For example, our Lord and Savior Audra McDonald has like 11 studio albums at this point, and she is the queen of beautiful, tasteful song choice and finding out some like lesser known hits. Like, for example, there's a cut song from A Little Night Music called The Glamorous Life, sung by Desiree's Daughter, which I think would be like a beautiful, obscure cut for a young woman, and we're always looking for more cuts for young women. So, you know, there's a free one. There you go. You're welcome. Thanks to Audra, okay? Mail her another Tony. She needs one. By the way, I met Audra once and I worked with her, and she's delightful. She's everything you want her to be. Maybe I should do a video on the weekend that I met like every Broadway hero of mine. Alright, let me know if you want that. I haven't made it yet because it's literally just me bragging about like the coolest 4 days of my life, but let me know. This is another one. Once you find a song you like, but maybe it's like overdone or it's not particularly good for you, go down that composer's rabbit hole, okay? That's not good. That's not good. Go down the rabbit hole of that particular composer. For example, in high school, I got absolutely obsessed with Michael John LaChiusa because the out-of-town tryout of Giant was at Dallas Theater Center, and for my 17th birthday, I asked to drive up from Austin to Dallas to go see it. I was so cool. Anyway, yeah, I was obsessed with Michael John LaChiusa, and for like 2 years, half the songs in my book were Michael John LaChiusa songs, but he just happens to have so many incredible songs for women and for young women, and yeah, I died for him. So anyway, like once you find a composer that you just really jive with and go back to like all their work, you can find some great treasures. Here's the real tea though, because you know what, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I know that we're all deep, sensitive artists, but in an audition context, I need you to come out and go pow and go audition and just fucking like plant yourself and do something absolutely spectacular to stop the show. You just need to find something with a lot of energy, and that can be more like a vibe than the actual tempo. Like, you can find a slow song that is actually incredibly urgent and energetic, and it's going to help you channel your nerves the day of, rather than doing like, every day a little dead. Like, yes, it's fine, but when I've seen 400 kids in one day, like, pick songs that are going to make them look up from their paper. The most important thing is that it's like a POW audition cut that you feel so confident in, that you really connect with, and that you sing the shit out of, okay? And it doesn't have to be vocally impressive by anyone else's standards but your own, okay? This is not the time to be Jessica Vosk. You will be Jessica Vosk. We will all be Jessica Vosk one day. But for today, what is something that you can just like fucking absolutely nail, and you won't be like second guessing and be like, because that is so uninspiring, and it's just not gonna make you want to practice it. It's not gonna make you want to sing it. You're just gonna be like, ah. There are voice lesson songs and there are audition songs, and the audition songs, I say, so much better to steer in the realm of vocal confidence. Okay. Oh, and I hope you like the show, because you need to know the show. You need to know the whole song, or like know-ish the whole song, just to be ready, because they're most likely going to be able to tell if you have no idea what the hell you're talking about, you know? Here's another tip to finding a song. These types of songs usually work great for auditions. I want songs, ends of Act 1 songs, and 11 o'clock numbers, because those have the most energy and urgency usually in the structure of a normal musical. This is how you find an I want song. Any song that has the words I want in it. It's usually the third or fourth track in the album, but like second, third, or fourth track. So for example, in the Heights, It Won't Be Long Now is Vanessa going, I want to live downtown. I don't want to work in this salon anymore. That has so much urgency, okay? The difference between that and, for example, Breathe, which is an I Am song, which is like, this is the predicament that I'm in. Of course, it's very well written, so it does have urgency and stuff. But anyway, I want songs that are like, I want to be where the people are. That, finale of Act 1, giant cliffhanger, a lot of belting because you're warm by then. Those tend to be good. And of course, 11 o'clock numbers. Those, I would say, are tend to be, harder to pull off, depending, but, energy. All right, let's talk very frankly about paying for sheet music. In this day and age, yes, you can probably get any sheet music you want, any PDF for free from the internet or from a friend or your teacher or someone. However, here is my rule of thumb for when to pay for sheet music, okay? Because as a working actor, I think it is important that you think about the economics of art, okay? So here's my rule of thumb. Close your eyes. Picture the composer of this song in your head. Think of them sitting at their desk, working on this song. Are they alive? Do you love them? Do you think they could use your $5? Would you be very happy to give them $5 and support their work? If the answer is yes, and you have $5 to spare, like if you were going to go buy yourself a Frappuccino today, would it be better to buy a Frappuccino for that composer? Would that make you feel good and help the future of musical theater? If the answer is yes, I would say, honestly, go for it. It makes me feel really good to buy sheet music, just because now that I live here and I know working composers and I count them as friends, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. And look, don't tell Ted Chapin that I said this, but if you're gonna sing In My Own Little Corner, the Rodgers and Hammerstein Corporation will probably be okay without your $5. So if your choir teacher is just here you go, sing In My Own Little Corner, and you just go sing it, it's fine to do a PDF of a copy of a copy of a copy, it's fine. But, for example, if you're going to sing a Jaime Lozano song and you think of my friend Jaime in his house with his beautiful wife Florencia and their adorable little kid Lorenzo, and you just think of Lorenzo's face and you go, should I give $5 for Lorenzo? Yes, I should! Because if I do it and I just trust that 9 other people are also gonna do it, that adds up. So anyway, pay for sheet music when you can, but also times is hard. There are a lot of ways to be frugal about auditions. For example, I have a video coming up about how to do headshots for absolutely free. That's important. However, if you have the money to spend on anything, I would say sheet music to a composer who is alive and is also a working artist is like one of the best ways to spend your money. My goal is that every living composer has just a fucking website with purchasable PDFs like directly through their portal, so that I'm not giving like all these fees to musicnotes.com. But the truth is that, yeah, sometimes the only way to get something is for free from your friend, weirdly. Or maybe you're doing like the third reprise of 1975, 1976 from Merrily, and there's like no way to buy that other than to just call your friend who did the show, who has the PDF of the whole score or something. In that case, like, yeah, sure, go for it. It's fine. The good thing about music notes is that you can transpose within the program. However, sometimes music notes has really kind of naked accompaniment that's just like chords and then they plink out the melody. So like if you're someone that doesn't read sheet music, I would say give it to someone that does and say, hey, is this worth me spending $6 on? Because sometimes it's like straight up not. Sorry, music notes, love you, but if it's just a chart with a melody, I could write that, you know? And if you're doing old shows, compare and contrast, because good lord, there are versions out there. Like for example, a show that I've done, Evita. There's an original, heinous, handwritten 1971 score, which is like the one that people used for a really long time, that is absolutely illegible, and it's already Evita, so you're not doing your pianist any favors. And then if you hand them that handwritten score, they're gonna be like, get out, you know? It sucks. But there's a new Evita score out there that is like computerized and beautiful. So like, if we're gonna do Evita, spend the time to either find or buy the computerized score or like transcribe that shit, because it's just not worth it to do those handwritten scores for an audition situation. Let's talk about choosing the actual part of the song that you're going to sing. The number one thing I want you to keep in mind is don't cheat me, okay? If you come up here and you're like, I'm gonna sing She Used to Be Mine, and you do the first verse, and you don't do the wonderful big notes at the end, I'm gonna be like, no, that's what I want. I wanna hear you belt that. So if She Used to Be Mine at the height of it doesn't sit well in your voice, even with a key change situation, then that should not be the song, because then that's just going to be inevitably like a letdown, okay? If you're going to do a well-known song, if you're going to be brave and do a Don't Rain on My Parade, you are only allowed to do that if you're going to sing it better than anyone. This is the danger with doing like overused or famous material, is that if you go, I'm gonna sing Don't Rain on My Parade, I'm gonna go, okay, and now I'm waiting for you to like meet my expectations of that monster of a song. So if you on like a normal Tuesday can't pull off that song better than average, just don't do it. Do something that you connect to and that you can sing the shit out of and leave me like speechless, okay? It's like dancing. Like if I say, okay everyone, do your best turn, and you go up and you go, I'm gonna do 32 fouettes, bitch. I'm like, okay, but only if you can pull it off. I would rather see a clean single pirouette than 32 fouettes. Like, no one asked for that. You know what I mean? So just like, once you pick your song, go, what is the iconic part of the song? Do the like calling card, TikTok cut version of the song, okay? Which, if it has a fierce verse, do a little bit of a verse. If it has a fierce chorus, do a little bit of a chorus. If there's one note that is like important, for example, if you're gonna do Breathe, if I was a child, I'd say wide awake, on every fire escape for us to climb. Yes, if you're doing Breathe, I'm waiting to hear what you sound like on Fire Escape. Like, that's just the truth. I'm sorry, but I wanna hear it. So don't do Breathe if you're not gonna do that part. You know what I mean? Like, what is the part in the supercuts that we all compare? Like the Elphaba, you know, who did the Fiero best? Like, all that shit. That's the part of the song that you definitely need to keep in your cut. Everything around it, you can kind of get really crafty with and make what I call a Franken cut. Okay, little word for key changes. If the difference between you nailing a song and you being spooked on the day of for a song is a whole step key change or some shit, like, please, dear God, do it, because this is college auditions. Like, this is about you being featured the best you can. And if a song suits you really well and it just sits like a little more comfortably, a whole step lower, or hello, soprano life, sometimes it's like literally a whole step higher, no one should be mad at you for that. If you're auditioning for the actual show, yeah, don't be changing keys, because that's just a pain in the ass. Like, don't go into a Vita and ask to move the whole show down a whole step, okay? That's, no. But for college auditions, if you're gonna sing It Won't Be Long Now, and you can like slay it down a whole step, then do that. This is why it doesn't matter to change the key. Everyone's voice changes a lot in college, and this happens to vagina owners as well, okay? Estrogen does a whole ass number on your vocal cords well into your 20s. Like, my voice is still kind of changing. So if I go in there at age 17 and say like, hey, I have an amazing instrument on a C, I can't belt this as a D comfortably yet, I'm gonna be like, okay, fierce, we'll get you there, because guess what? Your voice is gonna change like so much. This is a little soprano word to the wise. Don't be afraid to try songs higher. I know it's like spooky and weird, but sometimes for me, putting a song a little higher and just doing the whole thing in like a more speaky place, because then you can hear me, like, this is how I talk. I literally talk up here. Some people talk about here. Another crazy thing, don't be afraid to change keys of songs halfway through the year. Your voice changes so much, and maybe something that sounded really good for you at, you know, the beginning of November when you're doing your pre-screens, by like January, February is not sitting in the same place, and you need to move it. That happened to me with this song, It Won't Be Long Now. I literally did it in a different key for my pre-screens than for my actual audition. You know who was mad? No one. They don't have time to be like, pull up the cast recording, let's see what, you know. No, it just matters that you are confident and you know you're gonna slay the day of, okay? And to literally transpose songs, the easiest thing is to just go on music notes and like kind of do it for you, and then go have someone that you trust that reads music, obviously, and hopefully is an accompanist, just revise it and make sure it looks good, because sometimes music notes is all computerized and like there will be like some weird like double flats and things. So just look over it, but usually it's fine. And if you are very musically inclined, you can transpose the whole thing through Sibelius or Finale, which is sheet music writing software that you can get for your computer. If you know how to do that, that's great. Also, hot take, transposing music is actually a really good way to practice your music theory skills. So maybe take that on as a weekend project, if you want. Here's the foolproof way to pick your cut. Start at the end. The dot, that is the last note of the song, if it's like a long ass note, start on that measure and then count 16 bars backwards and see where that ends up. If it's older songs, it usually does line up that that's like a 16 bar section. For contemporary music, everyone likes to get really creative, which we love, but yeah, it's just kind of a pain in the ass for cut making. So start at the end, count 16 bars backwards, and then find the beginning of whatever that sentence is, and just like kind of melodically, what is the closest to that shape that makes sense? Sometimes you have to get really creative with it, because for songs that are really repetitive, you don't just want to do, for example, if you're gonna do like get out and stay out, it's like it's a lot of that for a lot of time. So what you would actually want to do is do like half a chorus and like half a pre-chorus and half a verse or something like that, and like make that, take basically all the like repetitive patterns out of it and try to see if you can shape it into one Franken cut that has a little bit of the best part, like a highlight reel of the best parts of the song. You have to make sure that melodically it makes sense, it still sounds like the song, so don't get too crazy with the Franken cut. And it has a beginning, middle, and end. Sometimes I feel like doing like a little bit of a verse, a little bit of a bridge, a little bit of a chorus is actually a really good way to get a beginning, middle, and end, because I'm telling you a whole story. And this is so individual to each song, but just like really get creative with like, what if I did this, what if I did this? Because sometimes you find some really incredible ways to match things up, and then you're like, okay, that's a cute cut, and no one is going to cut that song the same way, because most people are just going to be basic and just do the chorus chorus. It'll just be really repetitive and just kind of do one thing the whole time. It'll be kind of boring. So you guys, that's it. That's the video. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you subscribe and you like, and please ask questions, because I know that this one's like a lot of info. So comment, ask the questions. I will totally answer them as soon as I can. And yeah, let me know what else would be helpful in the audition scope-wise. I know that also, just like quick 2020 side note, ignore it if you're watching this post-pandemic. I know this is like a really weird year because all the things are going to be virtual. So if there is any particular like, hey, this is unprecedented and I don't know how to translate a real audition into a video, help, please ask me those questions, because I feel like we can figure this all out together.